Hi you guys, my name is Marissa. Now this week I kind of want to talk about a more serious subject. I think that I would be nervous to talk about this, but I actually kind of am, and I hope that this video will kind of help everybody understand and learn about this disorder, and that I can kind of help you in any way if you have this disorder. So what I'm going to be talking about today is anxiety disorders. Now, there are a lot of different types of anxiety disorders, and they are as follows. There's panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, social anxiety disorder, specific kind of phobias, and then lastly, generalized anxiety disorder. Now, what I'm mostly going to be talking about in this video is generalized anxiety disorders and panic disorders, because that's what I have. So anxiety is a normal human reaction. We all feel anxious at times, especially if you are giving a presentation, or if there's something that makes you a little bit nervous. But anxiety disorders, however, are very much different. They can cause distress that interferes with a person's ability to lead a normal lifestyle. Anxiety disorders are considered mental illnesses. Now, I know that that word kind of sometimes has a negative connotation, but it's true. They are mental disorders. They're very serious mental disorders as well. For people with anxiety disorders, worry and fear is constant and overwhelming and can be crippling, especially to having a normal lifestyle. So like I mentioned before, I'm mostly going to talk about panic and generalized anxiety disorder, because that's what I have. So definition of panic disorder is people with panic disorders have feelings of terror that strike suddenly and repeatedly with absolutely no warning. There's usually some sort of trigger panic disorders or panic attacks, and oftentimes it can be someplace that you've had a panic attack before. So for example, when I was in college, I once had a panic attack in our UC, in our university center where we can eat and stuff like that. I wouldn't eat there for a whole semester. I would not sit and eat there because I had a panic attack there once and I didn't want to do that again. Symptoms of panic attacks include sweating, chest pains, palpitations, so your heart beats really, really fast, a feeling of choking, or maybe the person is having a heart attack or that they're going crazy. Panic attacks are actually really, really scary. Me personally, when I have a panic attack, I feel like I'm gonna die. There's no way that I'm gonna be able to get out of this situation at all. I just want to drop dead there, right then and there. Also, panic attacks can be kind of embarrassing because not everybody gets them, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to go through something like that when you think that nobody else knows what you're going through, and you feel miserable after, and it's just really hard to go through something like that. And it's hard to go through life like that. The next thing that we're going to talk about is generalized anxiety disorders, and the definition for that is that this disorder involves excessive and unrealistic worry and tension, even if there is little or nothing to provoke the anxiety. So I definitely have generalized anxiety disorders. I'm trying to think of a good example of generalized anxiety disorders. Generalized anxiety disorders is just excessive worrying. So you worry a lot about certain things, just things that you really shouldn't be worrying about in general, and you're just constantly worrying about them all the time. Now, there's a point to where worrying is okay. Obviously, if you have anxiety or if you have some sort of thing, it's telling you that something is dangerous. But people with anxiety disorders, that part of their brain makes them think that something that's not dangerous and that's not harmful at all is going to affect them negatively. And the brain just thinks that that thing is going to harm them, but really it's not. And then that makes our body think that it's going to harm us, even though it's not going to harm us at all. Anxiety disorders are actually very common. You can't obviously tell if somebody has anxiety disorders, but I think that people really need to be aware that somebody might have an anxiety disorder, especially in situations where anxiety can be more like higher. In social situations, I personally, when I was younger, could never be in a crowd. That was just too much for me. I couldn't do it. Like, I would get really shaky and nervous, and I just couldn't do it. Some symptoms of anxiety disorders are as followed. Feelings of pain, fear, and uneasiness, uncontrollable or obsessive thoughts, repeated thoughts, flashbacks of traumatic experiences, nightmares, ritualistic behaviors such as like washing your hands a lot, problems sleeping, cold or sweaty hands or feet, which I have both of, shortness of breath, palpitations, so your heart beats really fast, an inability to be still and calm, dry mouth, numbness or tingling in the hands and feet or feet, nausea, muscle tension, and dizziness. Now, all of these sound really, really terrible, and to be honest, they kind of are. But with anxiety disorders, that makes people think that we're not normal, or we're like weird, something's wrong with us, and the sad truth is, yeah, something is kind of wrong with us, but we can still live daily life and not be anxious all the time with a little bit of help. Now, if you feel like you have an anxiety disorder, the best thing that you should do is go see your doctor and talk about what you think that your symptoms are for anxiety disorders, and then they can refer you to a psychologist. Now, if you don't want to go down the medical route, there are some ways that you can do that. It's a little bit more difficult because going down the psychology route means that you do learn a lot about anxiety disorders, but there's a lot of great books. I'm going to put some links to some books that I have down in the description below. But with my personal story with anxiety, I was diagnosed with anxiety at 10 years old, and which is surprisingly very young to be diagnosed with anxiety. As a kid, it was pretty bad, but then as I got into my early teens, it kind of started to go away. But once I hit my senior year of high school, it started to come back pretty bad again. And especially in college, it was really, really bad. In my first year of college, I would never leave my room. I never went out anywhere. I never socialized. It's gotten a lot better though since, because I've upped my medication dose, and I've just tried to do more things that to me are scary. To me, things that are scary are unplanned things that are like spontaneous, traffic, crowds, parties, eating at restaurants, just, you know, those like general things that are like normal people to do, and that are just hard for us. It was always really hard for me. I was never that spontaneous kid that wanted to do things. I was always really, really scared of everything. And to be honest, I wish that I wasn't, because then maybe my high school experience would have been a little bit better. But now that I'm in college, I'm trying to be a little bit more spontaneous in my life. Another thing that I have is agoraphobia, which is the fear of having a panic attack. And that kind of really sucks, because then you suddenly have this like constant fear of having panic attacks all the time, and that's really hard because it kind of gets you to this point in your life where you're like really sad and depressed because you can't really do anything because your anxiety is just so bad. And I was in that dark place last year. It was really hard to get through it, but I made it through it. Sometimes you just have to kind of push yourself to do it. I know it's scary, and I know it's really hard to do, but trust me, you sometimes have to do that in order to experience life. I know that I'm young and that I have a lot of time left to experience life, but I feel like a lot more people have experienced things than I have because I have anxiety disorder. The best thing to do if you have anxiety disorders is to just stay positive. Try to do new things. If you have anxiety disorder and you're watching this video right now and you haven't left your room or you haven't left your house like in forever, try to go for a walk, maybe just like around the block, call up a friend, go someplace that you feel comfortable. It's definitely a hard journey, I can tell you that for sure. Don't worry. I know that sounds lame, but don't worry, because I've been there, am there, I'm going through that, and it's really hard, I know, but I just want to let you guys know that if you are going through anxiety disorders or anything like that, that I'm here for you. If you ever want to talk, just leave a comment or whatever below, or you can like DM me on Twitter or Tumblr or whatever. You can always come to me to talk to me about it. I'm going to leave some links to some support sites and some things that I think that are helpful for people with anxiety disorders in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I know that this video was a little bit more serious than some of my other videos, but I think that it is important to talk about these things and to educate people on things like that. So if you see somebody that you think may be having a panic attack, you don't really need to talk to them or ask them if they're okay, because that's just gonna make them really nervous. Unless they ask you for something, then you can go and do whatever they ask you to do. But other than that, just, you know, keep to yourself, let them kind of figure it out on their own. Sometimes you just need to sit there and breathe. Thank you all for watching, and I'm gonna leave some important links in the description. Don't forget to check those out if you feel you would like to do that. And yeah, I will see you all next week. Bye.